Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game ShaDai versus Sky. This game taking place here on Tide Hunters 1.2. ShaDai spawning as the not teal, pink Night Elf player over here on the bottom right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Sky spawning under the name Sky Lee on the top left. Should be an interesting matchup, human versus Night Elf in a player we haven't seen recently, but did make waves back in WarCraft 3's heyday. And I will say, China perhaps the big influencer for WarCraft 3. WarCraft 3 to China was the same as StarCraft Brood War was to South Korea, really actually going on to stadiums and playing in rather large venues as as the company or as the game was growing right as the internet was taking off in both of those places. For all of you guys out there, yes, there was a time before the internet. If you guys are watching these games now, a time before the internet and a time when computers didn't have internet access. That's actually one of the things that my kids are often surprised about when I tell them, like, yeah, no, I would play on the computer, but I didn't have the internet. They would look at me and go, what do you mean no internet? What would you do on the computer then? Which, and it is kind of strange to think about. Coming back around, Computer Keeper of the Grove now going to go ahead and clear out this Sea Giant creep camp here. Ancient of War tanking a lot of that damage. Meanwhile, Archmage is already out on the battlefield training up those water elementals to try and clear out that 12 o'clock position. Look at me, I'm looking like um, what, some crazy. I guess technically I am a millennial, so I don't know, a millennial talking about times before the internet. I guess I'm an older millennial. Anyways, coming back around to the south side here, we do have this scout farm in position, keeping track of ShaDai. ShaDai, well, gonna be giving up knowledge about any additional heroes of that sort, any units making their way out, or even a staff of teleportation waypoint if it does get that far in the game. Meanwhile, ShaDai looking to clear out of this expansion creep camp here and set up an expansion of his own. And while Sky is looking to set up an expansion as well, gonna go ahead and place that down with relative ease. Sky using these scout farms to keep track of major thoroughfares on the map, and by doing so, being able to, well, perhaps try and stop there. Are we going to see a detonation onto that wisp? On that wisp onto the Archmage? We do. Archmage now 4 experience shy from level 2, not getting level 2 and not getting that Brilliance Aura, which is a very big deal. Normally, players use a ranged hero to try and pull that Murloc up onto the high ground, but we're not seeing that at all. Archmage drops a water elemental here to do a bit more scouting. Meanwhile, the Archmage is going to scout up onto the high ground, perhaps try to take down some of these units, or perhaps purposely aggro the creeps here. He's going to do that. No, trying to buy the boots of speed. I believe, yeah, there are now 2 boots of speed being sold from the shop. Keeper of the Grove picks up a Circlet of Nobility instead, and now sold back that Dust of Appearance so that the Archmage could not use it in the night. Back off to the north here, footmen are just waiting to defend. Plenty of peasants working over here to try and speed build this as the Archmage exchanging blows, having a difficult time taking another Entangle. Sky going to be forced to try and retreat back. Now, Sky was known for setting up an expansion and also getting up a decent amount of towers with masonry upgrades, making it difficult for Night Elf to dive on in. Even undead players had difficult times trying to take human expansions back in the day when the masonry upgrade was an absolute must-have, giving 20% increase in hit points and, well, that decent overall armor. Coming back around down to the south side here, footmen are still defending. And are we going to see another guard tower getting added in, as we do see the tech to tier 2 already in place by ShaDai, as the footmen now trying to go after this Keeper of the Grove here. This is going to be a tough fight here. No Dust of Appearance. Oh, actually, excuse me, take it back. ShaDai does have to deal with Dust of Appearance now, but the Keeper of the Grove entangling down 2 footmen and going to continue just getting a very, very strong experience lead over his opponent, ShaDai, maintaining this very well with a massive number or a large number of tier 1 units and still being able to keep them alive here. All right, Sky scouting this out, sees that there is no expansion, and I guess he is currently not worried. He just needs to make sure he doesn't give his opponent too much experience. If he does give too much experience like that, well, he'll be dealing with a level 3.5 Keeper of the Grove very soon, and well, that hero level advantage may be too hard to overcome. Hello, Shika. Thank you for tuning in. How are you doing there? All right, back off to the north. Sky is not setting up any towers, any additional towers. Instead, upgrading back at home and using militia to try and clear out some other creep camps here. It does feel like Sky is just a bit rusty in terms of his game decisions, as so far he's been unable to creep this map, Tidehunters, which is relatively new, with efficiency. All right, there is one arcane tower there, a scout tower upgrading to a guard tower, about halfway done as the Keeper of the Grove looking to retreat back. All right, more damage happening on through. Forest Troll about to get taken down, and now, well, Sky going to be on the wrong end of a Panda's Breath of Fire as the Goblin Shredder now looks to try and get away. Another no entangle possible there on that mechanical unit, but the Keeper of the Grove is really racking in a bit of damage here as we may get some repairs here. Is it going to be able to get the repairs off? And there we are. There is some repairs right there. There are some treants. The Shredder is going to try and engage back on the other side. The Keeper of the Grove taking quite a bit of damage, and now Panda going to come across, perhaps get a Breath of Fire off as well. Panda now taking some arcane tower damage, and this is the Sky that I was waiting to see. A Sky very, very strong, capable, knowing what he's doing, and, well, able to defend this harassment before this harassment game became too much to overcome. Sky has the economic advantage. Keeper of the Grove trying to go after this low hit point peasant will end up finishing it off. More damage still racking up here as a Staff of Teleportation allows that Keeper of the Grove to head back home with relative ease. Army sizes are about the same, 17 to 17. The big difference is that, well, some of the army is in this Goblin Shredder, and while there is also a second hero, that Panda, coming across from ShaDai, Archmage has quickly made up that experience gap, now sitting on a level 3 Archmage, who also does have that Robe of Magi +6 for extra damage and, well, extra damage and mana output. I watch your videos on YouTube, and I created my Twitch account just to watch her live video. Thank you. Thank you, Shika. Thank you for the follow to even watch me live. I don't know how it helps my YouTube metrics or my not necessarily my search engine optimization metrics, but thank you very much for all of you guys who follow on Twitch or who are subscribed on YouTube. And big shout out and thank you to everyone supporting me through Patreon and, well, subbing here on Twitch as well. And every donation does, well, feed the family. Let's just go ahead and say that. All right, Panda coming back across here. Going to go ahead and go after this Ogre Magi creep camp. Panda may not get to level 2 since it is sharing experience with that Archmage. And we are looking at a Keeper of the Grove who is relatively low on mana. Not going to be able to do all that much as that Panda now looks to back up here. Are we going to see a Breath of Fire going down to finish off these Enraged Elementals as the Keeper of the Grove is here continually harassing? Are we going to see a denied entangle there? Yes, we do, by that Brewmaster, as the Water Elementals or these Reef Elementals going to get cleaned up here. Reef Elementals do have medium armor, taking bonus damage from those footmen. All right, denying that last bit of experience there as the Panda's still shy of level 2. Down to the south side, Panda of ShaDai sitting at level 2 has a Sobi mask. That's going to be very useful to try and, well, lay that Breath of Fire on quick across all of those footmen who should be slowly transitioned away, perhaps starting to get some spell breakers, but we are getting some riflemen and priest first instead. level 3, level 1, going up against a nearly level 4, nearly level 3, as ShaDai actually managing this one Goblin Shredder fairly well, making sure there's a giant alcove in a side. Economic advantage still belongs to Sky here. ShaDai, however, no, never mind, take it back. I thought that this gold mine wasn't entangled yet. It is a fully entangled gold mine, both sides running off of 2 bases. All right, these scout farms have pretty much gone unchallenged throughout the match, but with Druids of the Claw now making their way out onto the battlefield, they should be cleaned up with relative ease. Druids of the Claw currently in adept training. Meanwhile, Sky now going after this gargantuan sea turtle creep camp, trying to finish this off, perhaps, and get a powerful consumable item. There it is, Potion of Invulnerability, and now needs to back away, but a Breath of Fire across all of those riflemen in the back. Both sides trying to engage here. Scroll of Healing looks like it was used already. Scroll of Regeneration maybe needed. Panda now trying to go after that one low hit point rifleman. A peasant does get taken out as this giant sea turtle will get cleaned up, giving level 4 to the Keeper of the Grove. Scroll of Regeneration quickly used by the Archmage, but ShaDai has not, or ShaDai has really put on pressure on the Sky. Sky does have a decent amount of production behind them, but he is only sitting at tier 2 while we are looking at tier 3 bears coming in from, ShaDai. These Druid of the Claw with mastery training is going to act as a very, very nasty front line. Meanwhile, the Granite Golem creep camp off to the north now getting cleared out by Sky, being very aggressive with this creep pattern here. And the Granite Golem with that nasty thunderclap really dealing large amounts of damage here. Thank you for the sub, as the Panda now sitting at level 3 with Claws of Attack plus 12 given to that Archmage. All right, Archmage with plus 18 attack. That auto attack may actually come as a very big surprise if you are not suspecting the auto attack damage to be that high. Essentially, almost, well, yeah, a 50% increase every time. Panda now getting the Robe of Magi instead for just more Breath of Fire. All right, Rifleman with that range upgrade. Orb of Venom dealing a little bit of damage over time. Thank you for the sub as well. Unless, well, those could all just be YouTube subs. I don't actually have my Twitch dashboard up, but if it is a YouTube sub, thank you very much again. But I would be surprised if, yeah, Shika, I think that's a Twitch sub, right? Unless you've been watching my YouTube channel for years without subbing on YouTube, which I guess makes me wonder, yeah, how come you guys aren't subbed on YouTube? Twitch sub, thank you very much. Coming back around, Keeper of the Grove now looking to retreat back. Rifleman going to go ahead and engage. Panda looking to get a Breath of Fire, but a bit out of position. ShaDai going to try and get there. There's a Drunken Haze Breath of Fire across all those units, and here it is on the south side as well. There's a Scroll of Healing on Sky. Panda is in that frontline spot. He needs to try and engage here as the Water Elemental quickly gets abolished down into nothing. Scroll of Healing used by the Night Elf side, but the front position, one Druid of the Claw quickly going to get taken down. Staff of Preservation, they're trying to save a unit as we could be looking at another low hit point. Druid of the Claw trying to get away. Damage is racking up. Dryads are actually falling. 71 supply, or 69 compared to 59 here. A big bit of damage as the Sky keeping track of where those archers are, able to get off a handful of useful breaths of fire, even though the army is now mainly consisting of Dryads. Turning things around, could have Breath of Fire finished off a handful more archers as the units are looking to retreat back, but now leading them straight to ShaDai's expansion. All right, 73 supply compared to 62. This is giving Sky proper time to set up and, well, put pressure onto this Tree of Life and force an engagement in from the south by ShaDai. ShaDai having to walk to get into here is going to be a problem, as we're looking at no Breath of Fire onto that early Druid of the Claw, who would have taken a large amount of damage while still in that Druid form. There's another another Breath of Fire here. Mana Flare now coming across, and that could be a problem as the Fairy Dragons could really rack up that damage. Archmage forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal early. There's a Breath of Fire blowing over a Sorceress as everyone retreats back. Tree of Life down to 200 hit points. Uproot, it's going to heal itself up. Meanwhile, we're looking at Sky using that Scroll of Regeneration, healing everyone back up once again. We could also be looking for Sky to pick up a handful or 1 or 2 Scrolls of Healing to try and counteract that breath of fire, as Sky does have a commanding lead right now in terms of army size, 70 compared to 59, with the hero levels now finally the same. Expansion of ShaDai also not up and operational yet, and as it is uprooted, it will be taking a major damage here. Could end up getting shut down, and that is going to be a major economic loss as a breath of fire blows over a handful of backline units who were in the front. Level 4, both sides fighting their way through. Sky quickly says, you know what, I can hit and run tactic out of here this time around. I did enough damage taking down a fairy dragon, but more importantly, taking out this Tree of Life expansion. Now, here's the problem for Sky. Sky wants to find a way to, well, get ahead even further, but short of attacking his opponent, there is really no way to do that. He's sitting on 73 over 78 supply, could train up a couple more units, could try and go for tier 3 as well, get that Staff of Sanctuary, as we're looking at, well, a quick dispel against those treants, now turning into experience fodder for the Brewmaster and that Archmage. Now, ShaDai, however, not giving up, setting up an expansion here, actually very close to Sky. It could be scouted out easily as this gargantuan sea turtle, well, going after all of these treants here. 60 over 60 supply, mountain giants with O2 upgrades will be difficult to take down, as that panda is now getting very close to level 5 as well. Druids of the Claw should be able to get in some easy or good rejuvenations there, as the Keeper of the Grove looks to take down this farm. Well, just putting in a little bit of pressure wherever and however it can. All right, Treant's going to get cleaned up here. Meanwhile, off to the north, Panda or Brewmaster Archmage going after some easy green creep camps just because they are available on the map. Rifleman upgrades only sitting at 1-0 compared to the 0-2 upgrades for the pretty much entire Night Elf army. Those Druids of the Claw and Dryads, I don't believe the Archers are getting that upgrade any longer, but there could be no more Archers out on the field. And Panda's sitting at level 5 now. We are looking at some more fairy dragons taking to the skies, hoping to, well, mana flare and deal with these sorceresses and priests in the back. Archmage still holding on, looking to see what else it can buy from that marketplace there. We are looking at Warsong Battle Drums, a nice 7% damage increase. The Robe of Magi still on that Brewmaster, giving an additional, well, 90 mana, even though it's not giving additional damage there, helping with the overall mana output, as extra mana on the Archmage would just turn into extra water elementals being purged down by, or abolished down by those Dryads. How long will this secret Night Elf base here at this 8 o'clock position hold? That may be the question, as Sky may not suspect that his opponent is trying to build an expansion right underneath his own. All right, Breath of Fire coming back across here, both sides trying to engage, and now the frontline Panda of Sky is actually in a bit of trouble as we see Mana Flare come across here. That one tree causing a bit of problems here, and now Sky actually losing a bit of his advantage as archers and units from the other side able to pelt in damage, but that Panda stays alive at 80 some odd hit points. Scroll of Regeneration now in the works, as this Panda was just out of position for so long, forcing Sky to retreat. All right, Mountain Giants, Dryads, all ready to start knocking on the front door here. 78 supply compared to 73. Mountain Giant looking to put pressure onto this Arcane Sanctum and perhaps some of these buildings, as the economy here slowly getting up and running for ShaDai. All right, attacking where you do not want your opponent to go to. An important strategy now, as the Druid of the Claw in that frontline position needs to go into, a bear form if he really is hoping to engage. All right, Entangle onto Sky's Brewmaster, unable to do all that much. We're looking at perhaps some more fairy breaths of fire blowing over some of these units. We are looking at the casters trying to get healed back up in this position, as well as the fairy dragons are causing a bit of damage against all of those casters who are clumping in the back. However, Rifleman with that 1-0 range upgrade, able to shoot down those fairy dragons before they became too big of a problem. 78 supply compared to 65. Sky with this defensive position, one arcane tower, guard tower, and arcane vault supporting him, looking to hold this position and doing so well. Rifleman continuing to fire back here as we're looking still at the mountain giants living up to their name, those frontline tanks so difficult to take out, as one or two more breaths of fire could finish off, yes, a handful of riflemen right there. This breath of fire from ShaDai has been dealing massive and terrible damage across all of these units. Could try and blow things over again. Doesn't get any of these units in the back here as the Panda of Sky finally gets up to level 5. Mainly only Dryads left here. 54 supply compared to 71. I believe a lot of units are still being trained up. That's why the supply discrepancy is so much, as these units are now looking to retreat back. Riflemen getting trained. That's 6 supply right there. The majority of that difference, as more fairy dragons and druids of the claw are getting are going to become reinforcements as well. Archmage sitting at level 4, nearly at level 5. What is that Archmage hoping to do? Is it going to try to go for level 2 Brilliance or level 3 Brilliance or level 3 Water Elementals, making it difficult for the Dryads to actually abolish them down? Yes, Sky. Sky Lee is Sky, the legendary Chinese human player. All right, yeah, good. I think Sky was one of my Sky back in the day was one of my favorite Warcraft 3 players. I think circa 2007, 2008, through 2010. I think Sky's dominance was just really strong during that time there. But then, with the change in just human towers and expos, not because we wanted more interesting games, suddenly the advantage, or one of the ways that humans could easily defeat undead, which was just bury towers and then try and outlast your opponent, no longer working. Anyways, coming back on through, ShaDai's hidden expansion now finally exposed, forcing an engagement here at the 8 o'clock spot. Breath of Fire is being exchanged on both sides. Some Druids of the Claw, not in Druid form, quickly getting focused down. Easy targets to go after, as we're now looking at Scroll of Protection used here. Dryads are not on Auto Dispel, otherwise that Scroll of Protection would be draining all of that mana there, as Mana Flare still, ranging in the sky. 73 supply compared to 65. Spellbreakers trying to hold up against these mountain giants, as those Spellbreakers are still taking large amounts of damage. Treants are now continuing to engage and control magic, however, taking those Treants away from ShaDai, as control magic, a quick ability there. Panda now looking to turn back around. More taunts coming back on through. Druid of the Claw joining in on the fight, only at half hit points. That is an expensive proposition. 67 supply compared to 66, as both sides are still fighting through here. There's another taunt. This Druid of the Claw should really be retreating back. ShaDai losing control of his units just a little bit. Keeper of the Grove, however, inching closer to level 6. And at level 6, we know how powerful that Nature's Blessing is, that ultimate ability, as more breaths of fire happening back across. Level 6 has gone down, or has been established for that Panda. Earth, Storm, and Fire, and maybe even Nature's Blessing to follow things up. That hero level advantage re-established by ShaDai, but he is losing this expansion here, meaning what you see is what you get, as there's no gold mine to the south. All right, Tree of Eternity, Nature's Blessing was completed. We'll be heading off to the north. Only 30 seconds of mining here and only 12 seconds of mining here, so it will soon be 0 bases on both sides until new expansions are established. Perhaps Sky doesn't realize how low this expansion is, and he cannot just sit back to try and win with an economic advantage at all. Sky, level 5 on that Panda and that Archmage. Unholy Aura moving slightly faster, slightly higher damage output as well. Meanwhile, coming across here, Panda Mountain Giants, Druids of the Claw, all here ready to try and defend this position. Perhaps even a couple of Ancients could be transitioned over to try and join in on the battle. All right, flying machines now joining in. 2-0 upgrades to try and burst things down. Mana Flare on those 2 fairy dragons as we see control magic going down as well. All right, more damage getting racked on through water elementals. Mana Flaring back as well. Priest taking quite a bit of damage. 62 supply compared to 71. And the fact that the fairy dragons are up above the trees means that when they are not mana flaring, they are not targetable by the rifleman, which is a very big advantage indeed. Now, Panda now of Sky continuing to try and take down, and oh, this may have been a mistake. Treants now clearing things up, allowing the fairy dragons to be focused down as they get focused out and targeted quickly. I was wondering if ShaDai was perhaps going to end up making that a miscalculation now, exposing those fairy dragons as the fight is still going on. All right, Sky in that frontline position, trying to battle it up against a handful of mountain giants. Panda continuing to go back and forth, and Tree of Tranquility is now available for ShaDai. He needs to use it, and here it is. There's that Tranquility holding on to those mountain giants. Are they going to stay alive? It looks like they are. Well, 2 of them are currently still staying alive. That regeneration, very, very high indeed. But is it going to be enough gas in the tank as a Breath of Fire blows over one more? Druid of the Claw there. That one Tranquility, not enough to keep those units alive. Druid of the Claw now retreating back, and it looks like Sky has gone past the tipping point and should be able to finish ShaDai here without much of an issue. All right, Tree of Eternity, not trying to get fully saturated. Wisp now trying to jump inside, but a Breath of Fire catching 2 or 3 out of the 4 wisps that were trying to get into that entangled gold mine, and now in trouble. Keeper of the Grove, are we going to see another Tranquility being used? We should be. Mountain Giants needed a little bit more time. There goes another Mountain Giant in there as we see Earth, Storm, and Fire now engaging as well. All right, this Mountain Giant about to get taken down. Level 6 on the Archmage, but that Archmage does end up falling. The immolation of fire able to burn that target currently right next to him as both sides are fighting pretty heavily. Sky now being forced to retreat back. A critical mistake, losing a level 6 Archmage, and we only have 2 heroes by ShaDai. All right, only 2 heroes left here. Are we going to perhaps see a little bit more damage raging on through? Keeper of the Grove trying to take down a Spellbreaker. Range attack could, in fact, take it down. Earth is trying to bring it in. There's a little bit of AoE damage as well. Breath of Fire could be coming in from behind as well to try and finish off some of these units. And these are all just units completely lined up, trying to take down Rifleman after Rifleman. Could have gone after a higher hit point unit as another Rifleman gets taken out as well. Suddenly, the supply advantage doesn't seem that strong, especially with long distance mining happening here and, trying to get fully saturated gold mines. ShaDai having extra life now, putting pressure wherever he can, and sees that the Altar of Kings is currently not resurrecting that Archmage. All right. Sky letting things slip away, and all it takes is one tragic mistake. Did that tragic mistake just happen? That is the question here. We're trying to get into full saturation. More Wisp being transferred on over. Treants looking to take down this Altar of Kings. Plenty of time in those Treants to take it down. As the Keeper of the Grove, trying to take things down here. All right, there goes an Entangle. There's a Drunken Haze, but a quick Dispel Magic allowing that Archmage to get away. He also does have a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, and now trying to rack up damage onto that Keeper of the Grove there. Breath of Fire raging on through. Goblin Shredder could be in trouble. No Staff of Preservation, and ShaDai, with the Staff of Preservation, didn't use it on that Keeper of the Grove. Perhaps there was a cooldown issues, but that Keeper of the Grove now falling at level 6, tips things back in favor of Sky. Long distance mining, the only mining happening for Sky right now. Meanwhile, no resurrection on that Keeper of the Grove. ShaDai may try and resurrect back at the tavern, which is an expensive endeavor, as the Dryads are still coming across over here as well. Resurrected back at the tavern now. Are we going to see a Staff of Preservation? There's a Clarity Potion. Sobi Mask now transferred over to try and get in a bit more mana. Those Entangles and that, Nature's Blessing, or not Nature's Blessing, Tranquility. Yeah, he was using Nature's Blessing instead of saying Tranquility on that Keeper of the Grove. The Keeper of the Grove now making its way down. All right. Where's that Keeper of the Grove going to try and go to next? There's some slight engagement. Archmage does have mass teleport, has not been using it. And now, with all of these Moonwells here, are they going to try and draw a line in the sand with a little bit of home base defense? Keeper of the Grove looking to engage, trying to deal some damage against this units here. Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire across those frontline units, as the units are now still trying to retreat back. All right, this little bit of home field advantage. Druid of the Claw perhaps needs to just go into bear form and be able to act as a frontline unit. One Moonwell quickly going to get taken down, but this army is mainly one rifleman, one spellbreaker. Everything else is casters and the heroes. Meanwhile, ShaDai is still building up a little bit more consistently. All right, Druid of the Clock going to rejuvenation himself. Staff of Preservation. Archmage going to go ahead and mass teleport away. The entangle was after, the entangle was before the mass teleport, allowing that Archmage to head on back. All right. No mining happening here. It is one base versus a long distance base now. And ShaDai, mass teleport, catching all of these units here. Are we going to see a Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire across tightly grouped units? Yes, we are. That could have actually been a blessing in disguise to be able to get off that so much damage in such a quick amount of time. Meanwhile, ShaDai, currently up in the air with that Brewmaster, should be able to go into Earthstorm and Fire as well when the time comes. There's a little bit more damage. Keeper of the Grove, unable to finish off the Archmage. Meanwhile, another Druid of the Claw getting taken out, but ShaDai still building on his economic lead. Keeper of the Grove now looking to retreat back. Dryads perhaps going to try and catch some of these peasants doing that long distance mining walk of shame. Poor city planning by Sky, meaning that, he is behind economically. 3 Dryads able to clean things up there. Meanwhile, we're looking at Earthstorm and Fire coming to an end out of combat. That's not how you want to be using your ultimate abilities, as ShaDai will be bringing in Earthstorm and Fire in this next fight quickly. All right, Brewmaster, Sobi Mask, Clarity Potion, Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire should be straight out of the gates there, as the Keeper of the Grove quickly summons in some treants. Now, are we going to see some Dispel Magic and Control Magic? Here we are already engaging, as the Fairy Dragon going to get in position and perhaps try and Mana Flare as well. Creeps joining in on the battle. This one green creep camp joining in here as the Keeper of the Grove looks to continue the charge here. All right, entangle onto a sorceress. Sky once again in trouble. Scroll of healing used there. Brewmaster now forced to retreat back. No Earthstorm and Fire. Perhaps just Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire is going to be enough to win out this battle here. No rejuvenation to be found. There's a Breath of Fire, but it doesn't really go across all of the casters in the back, as the Archmage could be in trouble. Down to 24 hit points. He gets taken down again. Sky gonna lose this Brewmaster, and that is gonna be the game right there. Keeper of the Grove gets up to level 8, throwing down a Tranquility, and ShaDai taking down Sky in this marathon match. Not quite sure if any good words were exchanged back and forth, but I can't even say a beautiful game, as mistakes were made by both sides, but definitely an exciting game where, one player may have overestimated their abilities, and then, the tables were reversed again, just going back and forth. Let's take a look at the final scores here. Final scores right there. Yeah, ShaDai definitely taking the overall lead, even though resource-wise, if Sky had mined more gold, ShaDai was able to do more with less, and also ended up getting a lot more hero experience in the end. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.